I mean, within the last 36 hours, we had about 8 deaths. And that is a major problem. I mean, when you look at the dashboard, I was just taking a peep at it again. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 1,053 active cases.
1,054.
1,054. I mean, that's just, that's a serious problem because there's a direct correlation with the amount of COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. So people really do not make that link. I mean, when you see 1,000 plus active cases, just know that a lot more people are going to get sick and plenty more people are going to die. We got to get that figured out. So, currently we have, as I said before, about just over half the population now that would have had either first or second jab. But we still have a large category of people who are unvaccinated. So the primary focus is for these unvaccinated persons to get vaccinated to reduce the probability of hospitalization or death. Now, the more individuals who remain unvaccinated, the greater the prevalence of COVID, and clearly, the greater the COVID mortality risk. As I said before, it stands to reason if you have a lot of COVID cases, you can have more hospitalizations, you have more deaths. And then when I speak like this, people are saying, oh, why should the Prime Minister say that? Well, I'm standing on the truth, and people must know the truth. And those who want to spin and say I'm insensitive, there's nothing insensitive about what I'm saying here. I'm just sharing facts to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. When last week I said, for example, that there are 10 people who are extremely ill and they are intubated and that several of them will die. Is that because I want them to die? It's not because I think I'm God, as how people are saying. It is what the science would have shown, that people who are critically ill and end up on an intubated, there's an 80% possibility they will die. And some of them, the vitals were so low that it was unlikely that they would have survived unless, there was a miracle. So all I did was to report what the facts are. So, but those political mischievous people try to spin everything and to create a problem out of everything, when what we're trying to do is to indicate to the people of Antigua and Barbuda how serious the threat of COVID is to the entire population, and the amount of people, whose lives have been put at risk, and people who are literally dying. There's still 10 more people on ventilators right now. So as soon as 10 comes off, or 10 come off, another 10 goes on, or another 10 go on. This is just, something that we have to curb. We have to reduce the spread of COVID within the country. And it's going to take an individual effort by, each of us to control the spread. There has to be a greater level of responsibility and, ensuring that we continue to uphold the health protocols, and most importantly, to get vaccinated. And, a little later on, I'll tell you why it's so important to get vaccinated. So as I said before, there's a direct correlation between the number of active COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. So when you contract the spread of COVID, when you contract and spread COVID, you are knowingly or maybe unwittingly or knowingly contributing to hospitalizations and deaths within the society. And again, a lot of people have not made that link. They do not recognize that when they contract COVID and they spread it to individuals, even if it is not those you directly spread it to, many of them go home and again unwittingly transfer the virus to their family members, including their elderly relatives, their grandparents and their parents, and then they become infected, and some of them succumb to disease. So that spread would have started obviously primarily with an unvaccinated person.